The Jacksonville Jaguars select
Let's get it going. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you live today with Ballard Sports 360. It is Thursday, actually, I apologize, January 6th. Of course, we know what happened a year ago for this country. We're not even going to get into that. I don't care. All right? Whoever you are out there, we're not talking about a year ago today. But we are going to talk about 3 days from today. We are going to look at the national championship. We're going to talk some baseball. We're going to look at the NFL. I got quite a few NFL topics actually today that I'm curious about that I want to bring up. Nobody's getting on. This show I take pretty seriously. If you ever want to be a guest, though, email me, ballardsports19@gmail.com. You can message me on Twitter at ballardsports. Even if you just want to comment on a video or whatever, but it's best if you get in touch with me on Twitter or you email me and I can get you on at some point. Give me 1 second. Let me fix this just a little bit. I put a poster up here. I had it originally over there on that wall, but I figured with me always sitting here to get something on the wall here for you guys there. It's well, hold on. The lighting kind of sucks too. Give me 1 second. I think that's probably just need to turn the light off in total, but there we go. Hope y'all can see that at least a little better. It's got the bear. It's got Ken Stabler, Gene Stallings, Frank Thomas. It's got a bunch of different legends. I think it's got Mark Ingram in there, Derrick Henry, of course, Coach Saban himself. Just quite a bit. Big Al in the background too. But anyway, I think that's a pretty cool poster. Shout out to my grandmother for getting it for me for Christmas. Let's check the comments. Let's see who all's in here. What's up, Will? What's up, Neo? What's going on, VicTube? How you doing, buddy? Love y'all. Good to see y'all. Neo says, home this week. I tested positive for COVID. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I hope that you at least are feeling healthy and you're doing okay. But I'm sorry to hear that. Let me mute my phone, although I do like that notification sound as we are days away from the college football playoff. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great one, but we'll get to that a little later on. Quite a bit to talk about with that. Today, I kind of want to look at what we should watch out for from these teams in the national title. But before we get into that, later in the show, what's up with the MLB? MLB frozen shut. I say that with the weather and everything. there's a shutdown going on. I don't know if y'all have heard, but there has been this month-old lockdown. I'm going to put this link in here, site sources. Mike, how do you say it? Mike Agiza? I don't know, but I'm going to put this in the chat here on Facebook and YouTube. If anyone wants to go back and read the article, you can. But what's going on with the MLB in this shutdown? This has been over a month now, and this is all on Rob Manfred. This is fair to say. I mean, he's behind all this. This didn't have to happen, but for baseball fans out there, we want baseball. You have all of these different free agency signings. You have all these guys, a few have retired, whatever, right? We want some baseball. But here's the thing. We're not in baseball season yet. We just started the new year. So, I mean, it's not like we've been missing games or whatever, but this is ridiculous. The big question is, are we going to have baseball? And quite honestly, if you ask me, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised because I don't think Rob Manfred, look, I don't want to sit here and say that he doesn't want to have baseball for us baseball fans. But this has to do with kind of the Players Association, the PA, and it's crazy. So it basically, it says the Atlanta Braves are World Series champions. We know that. And now baseball is in the middle of its first work stoppage since the 1994-95 strike, right? So what is all of this? I mean, I'm going to be honest. I have a hard time figuring all of this out, but it's basically a work stoppage. So I guess what that's telling me is that nobody's working. If a work stoppage means nobody's working, right? They're basically going on strike. But it's the first lockout of the players since 1990. You can have a lockout where the organizations aren't doing anything, but the fact that the players are striking, there's been lockouts where the players never went on strike. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, they're frozen shut right now. It is so crazy. Will makes a good point, though. For all you Braves fans, you will remain champions for another year unless they do come to their senses and they do lift this. But so it's basically, and there's a Wikipedia page. I know you can't always trust it, but I'm just going to quote from it anyway. But I would assume this all pretty much makes sense. But it says many MLB teams fearing the freeze and contract signings that would arise in a lockout, basically what we have now, scramble to sign prominent free agents at the end of November, like a month removed or a month and a half removed from the end of the season. More than $1.9 billion in new contracts were signed during the free agency period before the lockout, including a one-day record of $1.4 billion in contracts signed on December 1st. But it was at 10 a.m. Central Time, counting 11 Eastern, November 30th, 2021, one day before the CBA was set to expire. The MLB Players Association made its economic proposal to the MLB at the Four Seasons Hotel at Irving, Texas. So I don't know if they had like a conference going on or if they just met there. I don't know. But basically, here's part of it. The union rejected the league's proposal to drop certain demands, right? Including alterations to the free agency process. Negotiations came to a halt when the league representatives Dan Halem and Richard Monfort left the hotel. That evening, MLB voters or owners, voted anonymously, I don't know that word, shoot, to enact a lockout upon the expiration of the 2016 CBA. So I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of confused on this, but what I get out of this is that, they basically try to sign, basically a lockout means you can't have an off season. You cannot sign free agents, right? So in fear of that, at the end of November, there were a lot of different negotiations with players. There were signings. There was a lot going on. So I think I'm starting to understand it a little more. I knew it had to do with the free agency in a way. But I think it's ridiculous. But also now it's gotten to the point where they're carrying on with it. And by the way, just so we're clear, this has nothing to do with the new variant or COVID. This is MLB. This has nothing to do with COVID. This is not like 2020 where we didn't know if we were going to have sports. We're dealing with the pandemic. We don't know what to do. No, this is straight up ice cold. And I like how I put this at the bottom, frozen shut, right? I mean, it is just, first off, it's winter time anyway. I figured I'd get a pun in there. But yes, the MLB is on lockdown. They're on lockdown and they got to lock out. So basically what it is that, you can't do anything. You cannot, I don't think they're even practicing right now. They're not trying to get ready for spring training. They're trying to figure out if they're going to even have that. This is insane. I say give us some baseball. I mean, first off, this hasn't happened in quite some time. I think I read it to you guys. Someone remind me though, but okay, 1994, 1995 resulted in the cancellation of the 94 World Series. So there was no World Series in 1994. That's the last time they had a work stoppage in the MLB. And basically that's the key word, work stoppage, right? Labor relations, work stoppage. Nobody's working. Why? I don't know. Because Rob Manfred has shut everything down? Because he disagrees with players or whatever's going on? It's crazy. Neo says this kind of thing seems to be getting more common. Disagreements walk out. And not even just baseball, just in all pro sports. But I think it started with opting out and quitting. Oh, I don't want to play in this game because I don't want to get sick from COVID or I don't want to get hurt. Oh, we got to cancel this game because we had one player test positive. Now, again, this lockout really doesn't have to do with COVID. But it does mean that there's some issues going on in the sports to which a player, or in this case, players can't play or most likely won't play. There is still a possibility maybe they do get this taken care of in time. I mean, because we still got maybe a month and a half until spring training at the end of February. It's possible they get this done on time. It's possible that they pick this up, right? It started back on December 2nd, right? And the article that I'm showing you is from Dane Perry. I want to credit sources here. And again, I put the link in the description or in the comments if you want to go check it out. Check it out. Right? It talks about that it should be heating up this month. Big negotiations. Give it some time in January, right? A quote that he put in there was, given that the average player's salary has declined in the face of ever-soaring franchise values, the union wants to remake the economic structure of the game. This is all monopoly and money is what this is. right? And I think what I got out of it, at least, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but overall, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments, obviously. And again, I'm not, this is the 360 show. I don't want to let anybody on, but if you ever want to be a guest, email me. Bottom line is this, what I got out of it. If we get into the first or second week of the month of February, we're talking about a month from now, if not 5 weeks. If we get there and there's not a deal for these players, right, contracts or getting what they want or anything, I think spring training could be in jeopardy and probably the whole MLB season. And again, this is not a COVID relation issue. This is all about business. This is like crisis, business tanking, business, economic, money, whatever for the MLB. That's what this is about, people. Things are heating up for baseball, but not in a good way. I was looking forward to, I kept saying, like, I keep tweeting out, I got my baseball glove. Y'all hear me all the time. I know I hardly talk about it, but then again, we've had so much football going on, and football's my number one sport anyway, and that's what this community is built on. But dang it, I played baseball growing up. I played in Little League. I did T-ball. I loved it. I wasn't the best at it, but I had fun. I love watching baseball. I got a baseball glove for Christmas. I got baseballs this year, right? I don't have anyone to throw to, but sometimes I'll just kind of sit on my bed and throw it up in the air and try to catch it. I love baseball to death. A lot of people do. It's America's pastime. But it could be in jeopardy here. It really could. I mean, seriously. And because of what? The economic structure of the game. Again, I quoted, given that the average player salary has declined in the face of ever-soaring franchise values, the union wants to remake the economic structure of the game. Right? How they pay the players. Who's being paid what. And you know who it's falling on mostly? Who's in charge of it all? Who's behind the MLB? Rob Manfred. What's he doing about it? Not really anything at all, it does look like. But baseball seems like they could be in trouble. Big trouble at this moment. If things don't get straightened out very, very soon. I'm telling you that right now. They got to fix this. Ridiculous. So moving on. I just got to move on from baseball here. But what about some big questions here? What's the NFL looking like, huh? What's the NFL looking like? I got a couple topics actually for that. I got 2 of them, kind of. And then I'll close the show a little bit with what to watch for in Alabama and Georgia. We're going to be talking here all week about the national title game. But some big time questions here for the NFL and the playoff outlook. And I kind of have at least 2 things, really. I didn't really, I tried to be creative with it. But I really got 2, which actually, now that I'm thinking, and I know I already talked about this in the off season, but I'll bring it up now anyway because the AFC is pretty interesting. So I guess now officially I got 3 questions, or 3 topics, I should say. But how about the Cardinals and Kyler Murray? The Cardinals of Arizona and Kyler Murray. You also have veteran quarterback Matt Stafford. He's had some injuries here or there, but he's not bad. He was great at Georgia. He comes to the NFL. He did great with the Lions, but it just seemed like they were on some downfall. The Lions are just not that good of a franchise anyway. He's now in LA, been there the past year or so. Is he the guy to push the Rams? The Rams have not, they've been built on defense. But if I'm being honest, folks, I don't think Jared Goff is that good of a quarterback. So if they get rid of him, what do? They trade him to the Lions. They take Stafford. If I'm the Lions, first off, I understand that things weren't really working too well with Stafford and the Lions. So you're going to get rid of him. But, man, I'll tell you what, you really lost this by picking up Jared Goff. The Lions are going to try to get a quarterback in this next draft and get their franchise guy. They're 2-13. 2-13, people. But that being said, the NFC West, I think, could have a very deep playoff run. Now, look at these standings here. Overall, let's just look at the NFC conference here, the National Football Conference. So you have here the Cowboys at the top, right? 11-5, losing streak of 1. Who cares? The Eagles, and again, a reminder that it's 17 games, not 16 now, so we have one more week. The Eagles, who have clinched a playoff spot, 9-7. They're on a win streak of 4. What a way to close it out, Philly and Jalen Hurts. What a way. You have Green Bay, clearly based on record, by like one game over the Rams and the Bucs, who are 12-4. Clearly, the Packers are the best team in the NFC right now, if you want to base it off record. The rest of the North is eliminated. The Saints are not eliminated, but there's some toss-up in the air for them to be a wild card team and get a spot. Even the 49ers right there. You have an 8-8 Saints team, and you have a 9-7 San Francisco team. The Cardinals, and again, I'll show you. Okay, X, clinch playoff berth. E is eliminated. Clinch division and a bye round. Clinch division. So the Bucs won the South. The Rams and Cardinals at least have a playoff berth. You have a division. They got the division in the North, so the Packers are not a wild card team. They are automatically advanced to the divisional round. But it is looking like these here teams are, the Bucs clinched their division, but it's not saying that they get a bye. So it's possible they will have to play in a wild card spot. I mean, it was like that in the NFC South last year. The division, heck, the wild card round was literally, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was – no, I apologize. But the Saints were still a wild card team. But it did end up being 2 South teams in the divisional round. Anyway, the NFC West is what I want to look at, though. I think the Rams have a really good shot at this. I think the Cardinals have a really good shot at this. The Niners, they don't have an elimination next to their name on here, but that really doesn't say much, does it? I mean, think about it. But when you look at the team like the Rams, they are on a win streak of 5. Their defense is phenomenal. I would definitely say that they have found a quarterback in Matt Stafford. They're coming off a close win, but it's a good win over the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, 20-19. By the way, news, speaking of, the 49ers and the West, Garoppolo has returned to practice after a thumb injury. But Matt Stafford and the Rams, 38 touchdowns, 63.9 QBR, over 4,000 yards passing, right? So could he push them in a deep playoff run? Absolutely, right? Cardinals and Kyler Murray. That's what I want to look at. Is which of these teams, if you had to bet, would make a deeper run at the playoffs, right? And I'll do you one better. Let's just go ahead and summarize. Like, how far are we talking? Right? I doubt either one of these teams makes the Super Bowl. But if I had to make a pick, and I love Kyler Murray, I love Coach Cliff Kingsbury, I love DeAndre Hopkins, I love what the Cardinals have. But I would take the Rams over the Cardinals for a better chance at making the Super Bowl. And obviously, I think the key thing is you upset the Packers or the Bucks. Those are the two teams to beat. I think especially the Packers. And that's saying like even over a team with Tom Brady, we're calling him, right? But who would make a better push for the playoffs? You got Matt Stafford and the Rams, the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. It's tough. It's close. It's kind of tough. I love the Rams defense, but when I look at the Cardinals and their offense, it's incredible. It's amazing, right? But at the same time, though, points against, they haven't given up as much as the Rams. The Rams haven't had their best defense ever, but it's still pretty strong, and they're on a win streak of 5. Like, they're coming into these playoffs on a win streak. Like, they haven't lost in a month or so. And you got the Cardinals here, who only have a win streak of 1, so they've dropped some games, but it's no big deal. They're in the playoffs. That's it, right? Kyler Murray over 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, QBR of 56. Matt Stafford, QBR of 63. Matt Stafford's having a better year than Kyler Murray, but, also you got to take into account the Rams have guys like Sony Michel and Cooper Kupp out there. Sony Michel was picked up from, I think he was with the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. But, I think – and maybe I changed my mind here. I think it might be the Rams. Because think about it. The Rams haven't been bad. They've been good defensively, right? They've been really good on their defense. But what's been missing? And I'm just going to say it. I don't think Jared Goff is a franchise quarterback. He's not with the Lions. Unless they cut him and I missed that news. The Lions are drafting a quarterback anyway. But I think that was the thing that was missing. They've had receivers and stuff. They needed that quarterback. They needed that leader. So they have that. The Rams, maybe I changed my mind here. It might be Stafford and the Rams here to have a deeper playoff run. I think the Rams have been building for this. They have the better record. They have a good win streak going. They're peaking and rising at just the right moment. They have a 1,000-yard receiver in Cooper Kupp, I mentioned, who's got 138 receptions and 15 touchdowns. Right? In team stats here, let me stop sharing this. Let's look at the Rams themselves real quick. This is incredible. In team stats, they are tied 24th, so a little low. It's marginal for rushing yards. Points against, their 15th. I'd expect better. But their offense, 5th in passing yards. That's top 5. Points for. What they're scoring is number 9. They weren't like that with Jared Goff. They're top 10 in scoring right now on offense. It's incredible. I think it's great. But overall, to sum this one up for you guys, you look at 2 really good offenses and quarterbacks here. The Cardinals have had their struggles, but they've looked really good. But, and again, I know I said the Cardinals at the beginning, but now that I look at it and I think about it, I think the Rams have a better chance in being the team out of the West to make a deep playoff run, push for possibly a Super Bowl, and go a long way with this season. So, but overall, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think either one of those teams out of the NFC West has a really good chance to go far and make something of themselves this year in the 2021-2022 NFL season. That being said, again, some big questions, NFL playoff outlook. I got 2 more questions about the NFL, and then I do want to get into Bama and Georgia talk some more. Speaking of the NFC, though, Speaking of NFC playoff teams, who would y'all say is the biggest threat to Tom Brady and the Bucs? Well, biggest threat to them? They're not even the best team in the NFC right now, are they? Well, maybe, but I mean, we're talking about Tom Brady anyway, aren't we? Like, let's be honest. When it hits time for the playoffs, I don't care. Tom Brady is the man. But again, here you see these teams, right? Again, two teams that don't have anything yet, but could. With two games left, the Eagles are in. They got a playoff berth. The teams that have already clinched their division are the Bucs and the Cowboys so far. So the Cowboys are the team of the East. The Bucs are the team of the South. Who would y'all say? And again, we don't have playoff matchups set. And I don't know. And I've never really ever figured out how they determine like who plays who in the divisional round, who gets the buys. I guess it's the division winners, but and if you get good enough record, I think maybe if you're over 500 or 600, something like that. Anyway, you look at Tampa Bay. We just got done talking about the Rams, right? Like they could be that team out of the NFC in the Super Bowl. Is it the Rams? Right? Who is the threat to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers? That's the big question here, folks. I see welcome Nate and Neo in here. Will, I saw you in there too. Neo says, I doubt Brady goes on much longer in the NFL. Well, he's on a 2 or 3 year deal anyway, so he's still got at least one other year after this. I think in the offseason they signed him an extra year. But who is the threat? Is it Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? I think that's a no-brainer, obvious number one. Is there really anybody else out there? Would I really look at Jalen Hurts and the Eagles? Now, I love Jalen Hurts, but, man, I really don't know if their offense it has improved and looked good with Coach Sirianni, but I don't know if it's enough to that standard that they're necessarily a threat. The Saints, they're a divisional opponent. Ian Book in his debut looked pretty good. I already talked about that last week. I don't know if it's a threat. And I say a threat like this is a team that could pull the upset. I don't think it's the Saints. I don't think it's the Eagles. It's possible you get into a shootout match with Kyler Murray. That could happen. The Cowboys defense, that could make it happen. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers. If anything, that's probably it. I really think it's the Packers. I think that's the biggest threat. Now, there's a couple of them. I'd give credit to the Rams and the Cowboys. I think any of these teams, if you put them in the right position on the given day, yeah, they could get an upset or they could get the victory or whatever. It might not. Green Bay getting Tampa Bay, is that even an upset at this point? They have a better record, better win percentage. They've just had a better team, right? But who's the biggest threat to Tom Brady? What quarterback out there could outshine and outperform the GOAT this year? Do we wait till the Super Bowl with Mahomes or whoever from the AFC? Is there really anybody in the NFC he should worry about right now? Because, again, I think it's possible. I mean, it might be Matthew Stafford. We just got done talking about the Rams. That might be it. It might not be anybody but Aaron Rodgers. It might not be anybody at all. Maybe you put him in that primetime position in the playoffs, and, man, he's unstoppable. I'll hold my breath on that because I really don't believe in anybody being unstoppable or unbeatable, but he could look that way and just dominate. But who would y'all say in the comments? I want to hear from y'all on Facebook and YouTube, or maybe you're watching this back or something. I want to hear from you guys. At this moment, who would you say is the biggest threat to Brady and the Bucs? Tampa Bay, the Brady bunch. Who is it? Nate says the Cowboys. Well, I would agree in a way. I think so. They gave us some trouble in that week 1 game. Let's not forget they played on, I think it was Thursday night. Now the Bucs won. They only won by 2. Defense showed up, made a stop. 31-29. They lost to the Rams. Ooh, see, this is what's so interesting, folks. They already lost to the Saints twice. We know the 9-0 game. 36-27 earlier in the year. They beat the Eagles. They beat teams like the Patriots. That's AFC, but, just throwing some teams out there they beat, They beat the Cowboys. But then the Cowboys have been on a streak, man. They're mad. Don't mess with them too much. Green Bay, did they play Green Bay? Nope. So that might be a team to look out for. And even if they played them, who knows? They didn't play the Cardinals. Their next game, they literally have one game left. They got a close one with the Jets. They play on Sunday. They play the Panthers. But who's the biggest threat to Tom Brady and the Bucs? VicTube says Rams or Packers. I think it's a three-team tie between maybe the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Packers. I don't think I think the Cardinals could surprise a bit and give us trouble, but I don't. At this point, I don't know if it's enough. It's good. They're great. I love Kyler Murray. Love all those guys, DeAndre Hopkins and everybody. I don't know if it's enough to be a threat to Brady and the Bucs. But again, y'all comment down below or let me know in the live stream chat who you think could be the biggest threat to Tom Brady. That's a big question. Because it seemed like after a certain, halfway through the season, they were on this win streak. They had already lost their 5 games. Now, still because of that, and losing twice to the Saints, but they won out. They went to a wild card spot. I don't think the Bucs necessarily get a wild card spot. I think if they win their division, they could win the last game or two, the last 2 games. They could go 13-4 and 17 games, right? Is that enough? Someone out there is a big threat to them. I want to know who the biggest threat is. Cowboys, Cardinals, Rams. I don't know. Y'all comment down below or let me know in the live chat because that's a big question there. Who can put a stop to Tom Brady? And also, who can put a stop to Kansas City? Who can stop the Chiefs? I talked about this in the offseason, but at this point, is there really anybody out there? Now, there's the Titans. Hold on. Their defense is a little better. Offense, not as much. If any offense is scoring more, there is the Bills. I think the Bills, man, I think they're that team. Outside of their record, you look at points for, 456. Points against, only 279. That's more than both of what categories the Chiefs have. If Kansas City wins the AFC as a whole, that's a 3rd straight Super Bowl trip for Mahomes. He's already done so much for a guy his age at 20. He's like 25, 26. I don't know. Vodka says the Colts were playing good until last week. That's true. The Patriots are playoff bound, right? X says playoff berth. Are you sleeping? Can we really sleep on Bill Belichick and the Patriots in the playoffs? They don't have Tom Brady, so maybe we could. Maybe. You look at the teams that are eliminated. The Browns are out. The Broncos, Jets, Texans, right? The Ravens are not necessarily eliminated yet. The Steelers, the Raiders, the Chargers. Now, some of this plays into factor. If you're some teams out there, you got to hope that this next and final week, some of these other AFC teams lose, and you got to do your part to win, I think. But at the same time, you already got 5 teams in there that are automatic bids, right? You got the divisional teams and the Titans, the Bengals. Ooh, Joe Burrow. Kansas City, teams with playoff berths, and the Bills and the Patriots. Who can stop KC? They have Mac Jones. Yeah. Mac Jones hasn't looked too bad, but he also hasn't impressed me too much either. I mean, at this point, I really think that it'll be the Titans and the Chiefs. I really do. King Henry. Man, the Titans have been great this year. Win streak of 2. They have 5 losses, but they are leading their division. They got a 68 win percentage. Their defense has looked really, really good. Right? They haven't given up more than 2 touchdowns since the Saints game. Back whatever week this was that I'm looking at here. They won 34-3 last week over Tua and the Dolphins. They won 20-17. They struggled. Over the Niners. They lost to the Steelers. And again, their losses aren't bad. Their losses now, okay, outside of the Texans' loss, they're not bad. And the Jets. But the Cardinals lost week 1. It's not too bad. We already talked about the West and the NFC and the Cardinals. Is this the year for King Derrick Henry? Is this his year to shine? Bama fans, where are you at? We could have our Heisman to make a deep playoff run and win a Super Bowl. We could have this happen. What's up, Steve Pearson? He says Bucs versus Pack in the NFC title game. I think so. I think that's a good possibility. But who can stop Kansas City? First off, is this the question we should ask? Is it who can stop Kansas City? Or because they're at the top, who can stop the Titans? What are we looking at? I mean, again, it is tied. 11-5 teams right here. 68 win percentage. They literally have everything the same. The only difference is the Titans are on a win streak of 2, and KC is on a losing streak of 1. So, who can stop Kansas City? Who can stop Mahomes? Who can stop Mecole Hardman? Who can stop Kareem Hunt? Who can stop Travis Kelce? Who can stop them? They're not unbeatable. They're not even unstoppable. Someone out there could get them. Is it the Bills' turn? Is it time for Josh Allen? Or is it Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry and company? What about these teams down here that don't have a marker that are still kind of alive if things go their way? Could a team sneak in as a wild card? The Colts, the Chargers, the Raiders, Steelers, Steel City. 2 weeks left. 2 weeks left for these other teams to sneak in. We already got 5 in. The big question, and it's so crazy not to do that with New England, but with Tom Brady no longer with Belichick, I mean, the question remains for Patrick Mahomes and KC. C. Pearson says the AFC is up for grabs in the playoffs. I agree. That's a big deal too. But we'll see. I mean, the 2 big questions we talked about today so far for the NFL. Who's the biggest threat to Brady and the Bucs? And then who can, forget being the biggest threat, who can actually stop Kansas City? They're not unbeatable. Someone out there could get them, but who? In the playoffs, Mahomes has been lights out. He's made 2 straight Super Bowls. He's helped them make the playoffs 3 straight years. And the year that he didn't, it was Tom Brady he lost to. He lost to Tom Brady in the AFC title game. That's why he didn't even make Super Bowl 53. He didn't lose to the Chargers. He didn't lose to the Bengals. He didn't lose to the Titans. He lost to Belichick and Brady. We know all about that. We get that. And it's not even a bad look on Mahomes if he doesn't make another Super Bowl. No big deal. We know who he is. We know how great he is. All that would say is, hey, there's just another team out there this year. But can they be stopped? I think so. someone out there could get them. I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying they won't. But I do definitely think that it's possible. So, yeah. That being said, final topic of the day, and then we'll get out of here. I don't want to be on here too long. We've been talking about it all week long, folks. The Alabama-Georgia National Title Showdown takes place this Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. But what should we watch in this game? Well, we need to watch the game. I know that. This has kind of been raised a little. I think this was at 56 or whatever for Georgia, but I think they've raised it. 58.4% chance that they win. 41.6% chance that the Tide win. Right. So what should we watch out for in this game, though? I mean, like, we don't. So I think the question is, what Bama team are you getting and what Georgia team are you getting? Are you getting, are you going to get Georgia this year? So, like, okay. When you watch this game on Monday, when you sit down, you grab your snacks, your soda, your pizza, get all your friends together, put your jersey on, sit on your couch, turn it to ESPN, and you're going to watch this game. What are you looking for in this? What's the big storylines? I got a few things that, I got a few things that I have listed that I've kind of put in my notes here of what I would look for, right? The first thing is you want to see what Georgia team you're getting, but also what Bama team are you going to get? Them knowing it's a championship, are they going to give it everything they got? You would expect that. But obviously, they didn't do that against Clemson a few years ago. So could they slip up? They could. But what Bama team would you rather see? Which one do you need to see? Do they need the complete performance? I think they do. They need both great defense and great offense. But they've also had those games this year. And I know Bryce won the Heisman. I know I've been tough on him, but he hasn't had a great game every single week. Early on in the season, it was 31-29 in Gainesville against Florida. 31 points on Florida. Their defense is not good. We struggled in Gainesville. I get it's a tough atmosphere. I get it's a swamp, but there's no excuse for it. They fired their coach halfway through the season. For a couple weeks left in the season, and we almost lost to that team. Alabama almost lost to that. Which Alabama team are you going to get? BVD, good to see you in here, buddy. I love you, man. Bama wins 38, ugly 31. NFL, Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Belichick. Brady 41-41, or 41-40 in the stupid ball. I love you, buddy. I love you, buddy. Good to see you. But again, the big storylines to look for, right? Which Alabama team are you getting? Right? And did Georgia's defense really stutter and struggle in the SEC title? Or was Bryce that good? I'm not here to do one of those knock on Bryce Young things. Seriously. Did Georgia really struggle in that game? Or was there really that good of a performance by Bryce? I mean, it got him the Heisman. Don't get it twisted. Right? And forget about history or anything. Forget about what history says. Based on history, based on what happened 10 years ago, this game, I don't want to hear any of that. I don't care about history right now. I care about today's game. I care about what's happening this year, this week, right? And Kirby Smart has finally proved himself to be an elite head coach. He's been a great recruiter, but being a coach is a different story. But he has coached a complete team this year. Really. He's figured it out on offense. Receivers are catching the ball greatly. great O-line, Stetson Bennett. We know all that. Elite level. What does winning this game do for Kirby Smart? Does it prove that he's an elite head coach? Is it the foolproof plan? Does it put Georgia on the map as a national brand truly? Does it start a dynasty for him? Doubt it. But seriously, what are we looking for in this game? What's the big storyline? What is the big deal about this game? It's a rematch. No kidding. No kidding, it's a rematch. We've seen some rematches. It's more than that. Kirby Smart has a lot more to lose than Saban does on Monday. Because you know what he can do? He can beat his former boss, the best college football coach of all time, Nick Saban, on his own stage in a national title. It'd be even bigger if he was an underdog, but he's favored. So people expect him. I mean, people expect Bama to win this game too, but, at the same time, it's like, how do I want to put it? Oh, God. People, they expect it to be close. They kind of expect these teams to be here. But, man, all season long we've been talking about Georgia, this juggernaut. This great offense, this great defense, complete team, generational defense, historic defense, good enough to be in a year where defense is going to win you a championship game, and forget your offense. This defense is that good. We don't need to be slinging the ball around 30 times in this game. Now, you do because of the offense you're going up against in Alabama, right? But what are we looking to watch? We want to watch the game, right? Is Alabama being disrespected because UGA is being favored in this game? Is Alabama being disrespected? I don't think so. I mean, it's crazy. I don't think they're being disrespected. Maybe a teeny tiny bit. I don't know. I think it's just more so Georgia's just that team. This is a historic run. This is a great season. And I think they have come this far that it would be disappointing if they don't win the title. But even if, this is still probably the greatest defense that we've ever seen and probably one of the best runs that we've ever seen, right? And again, like I mentioned, what do you get out of Alabama? How can Georgia get Alabama to be thrown off in this game? And should Georgia more so? Well, I think this is obvious, right? You're either going to get a great offense in a shootout game and hardly any defense, or you're going to get a complete team. Or let me rephrase that. You're going to get great defense, but you're struggling on offense like they did against LSU and Florida. You're going to get the A&M game where they had amazing shootout style of offense and the defense went to sleep, or you're going to get the complete team and they're just going to kill you in this game like 45-10 or something, or 21, whatever you want to put, right? You're going to get one of those three teams in Alabama. Which one do you want, Georgia? I think you want the one where their defense isn't going to show up, right? Seriously. Vodka makes a good point. He says, seems like both teams are competing on who's the most disrespected right now. In a way, yes. I would agree to that in some extent. Again, a lot of teams, I think UGA is being disrespected in ways, but Bama too. I'll admit that. But overall, what are we looking for? We looking for a shootout? Is this going to be one of those old school? I think it'll be an old school defense wins championships type of game, down to the wire. And I did pick Georgia to win. I want Alabama too, but I just think they're having that kind of year. I got to give them props. Not going to be biased. I hope they don't win. I hope I'm wrong. It's one of those. I hope I'm wrong. But if I go with my gut, I just think Georgia's been on a mission. They know it's at stake, and they got to win this game. They know that, and I think they can. But, at the same time, Alabama did lose. They lost to A&M. They literally did that 9 years ago, 2012. They lost to A&M, Calfield. Or no, they lost to Johnny Manziel, the Heisman winner in Tuscaloosa, I'm sorry. They lost that game. They make their run, and they go beat Notre Dame in the championship. They're a little bit in that position right now. They kind of are. But what are we watching? I'm watching to see which Alabama shows up. Do you get the complete team? Do you get the offense going to sleep because of the offensive line, like they did against Florida? Are you getting the LSU type of game, which I guess was like the Florida one? Are you getting the A&M one? There's not going to be any defense, and you're going to let your opponent score 50 on you, almost. The over-under is 52. I'll go ahead and I'll do the picks, too. I don't care. The over-under is 52 here in total. 52 combined points. Let me see something here. That's tough. It might be right on the money at 52. If I'm being honest with you, and stay tuned, I think tomorrow I got my preview and prediction video coming out. But I think, what did I go with? Hold on. I went with Georgia to win. Right? And I ended up picking them. Hold on. It'll load. What did I say the score was? 28-24. Okay. That's 52 points even right there. Forget the over-under. You give me right on the money there. 2.5. I could see Georgia covering that. Vic says take the under. Look, here's the thing. You're going to watch two of the best teams in college football go head-to-head. One with great offense, one with great defense. And then the other side of the ball is right there marginal, right? You got a marginal, decent Georgia offense and a marginal, decent Alabama defense. You got an elite defense in Georgia, elite offense in Alabama, right? It kind of matches up, I guess. I don't know. But overall, I'm watching two teams go head-to-head that have been waiting for this all season long. They already went head-to-head once. But truly, this is the one. Alabama, the only thing really they have to lose is a chance at back-to-back championships for the second time under Saban. And if that doesn't happen, so what? We know they're going to be back next year. Look at their recruiting. Georgia's recruiting great too. But it took them 4 years to get back to a title game. We're going back to 2017. It took them 4 years. How do we know they're not going to fall off this next year, take a step back? I think they do take a small step back. Don't get me wrong. But what if they choke a little bit? And especially, remember, isn't Dan Lanning going to Oregon? Are they losing a staff member or two, a coach? I think they take a small step back. But will they still be here next year? And how many more years will it be after this year for them to get back to the national title game? They need it. They need it more. I think Georgia needs this more. They know it. And I'm being honest. Again, I want Alabama to win. I give props to Georgia. I think they know what's at stake. I think they are going to win. And if they do, I'm not going to, what am I saying? I'm not going to whine and complain. Give props, give credit where it's due. Overall, what am I watching? I'm watching an entertainment game here. I think down to the wire, great defense on both sides of the ball, but still a little bit of scoring in between. I think we're going to see a little bit of one of those, like at the end of the game, I don't think offense is going to be what wins it. I think it's going to be defense that wins this game overall. I think that's what you'll see on Monday night with Georgia and Alabama meet in Indianapolis and Lucas Oil Stadium. And they'll go head to head, and we'll see who comes out on top of it all. Anyway, well, folks, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for the show today. I could probably do a hangout stream after this one, but I don't like getting you guys on here. But maybe I could start something up for you guys, and we can hang out and we could talk. But y'all do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hey, I love you. Jesus loves you. Keep your head up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I saw my man Vodka, Nate, Neo, VicTube, BVD in here. I love you, buddy. Keep healing up. Keep getting better, man. Praying for you. Steve, Will, of course, myself, dropping a link or two to an article. Appreciate everyone for showing up. Like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And until next time, folks, Ballard Sports Media, checking out. Love you guys. Jesus loves you. Keep your head up. God bless. And as always, like I said,
roll down Tide.
Roll Tide, roll. Love y'all.